We have some breaking news right now. Donald Trump is now demanding that he receive $230 million from the Department of Justice, $230 million of your taxpayer dollars in exchange for what he says is harm he suffered as a result of the investigations and prosecutions that he faced as a presidential candidate over the past several years. This bombshell New York Times reporting is a stunner, not just because the President of the United States has the gall to ask for American taxpayers to foot the bill, pay $230 million to him personally, but also because of the ethical concerns that this payout potentially raises. The person and people responsible for approving such a settlement, none other than Donald Trump's own personal lawyers who represented him in these same criminal cases, like, for example, Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche. This is stunning. Imagine a president of the United States demands millions of dollars from taxpayers, millions of dollars from taxpayers, because he believes he was wrongfully investigated and wrongfully prosecuted. Let's break down some of what the New York Times is now reporting. So the first claim, Donald Trump has submitted multiple complaints through what is called an administrative claim process that is often precursors to lawsuits. Before you go and sue the federal government, you submit what are called administrative complaints. And essentially, they work their way through these administrative systems in an effort to try to settle them before the Department of Justice or any agency is sued in federal court. Well, the first claim that was lodged was in late 2023, seeks damages for purported violations of Donald Trump's rights, including the FBI and special counsel investigation into Russian election tampering and possible connections to the 2016 Trump campaign. So the first claim is related to Russiagate, which Donald Trump has long decried. The second complaint, it was filed last summer in 2024, accuses the FBI of violating Donald Trump's privacy by searching Mar-a-Lago, his personal club, and residence in Florida in 2022 for classified documents. It further accuses the Justice Department of malicious prosecution in charging him in the classified documents case. Remember, Donald Trump was indicted by a grand jury of his peers, Republicans, Democrats, Independents, in this classified documents investigation because Trump, if you recall, literally had classified documents just lying around in his bathroom in Mar-a-Lago. And while that indictment was later dismissed by Judge Eileen Cannon on dubious legal grounds, an indictment that would likely have been reinstated by the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals, but for Donald Trump being elected president of the United States, but it was an indictment nonetheless. And well, we're now at a situation where Donald Trump is potentially asking for these administrative claims to be settled for $230 million. These claims are not lawsuits. They are complaints that are submitted to the Justice Department on what's called a standard Form 95. The goal is to try to see whether or not the two parties, in this case, Donald Trump and the United States government, can reach a settlement before ever getting to federal court. The last thing the Justice Department ever wants to do is to go and litigate a claim like this in federal court. They just don't want that. If the Department of Justice formally rejects the claim that is presented, and here there are two claims, or just simply declines not to act on it, declines not to touch it, then Donald Trump could go and sue them in federal court. But here's the thing. That's unlikely because, as the New York Times is now reporting, Donald Trump is already negotiating with his former lawyers on this possible settlement. And compensation, well, that's covered by you. It's covered by the taxpayers. Taxpayer dollars are used to cover claims submitted through this administrative process. And well, if you look at the two claims, the second claim accused Merrick Garland, the former Attorney General, and Christopher Wray, Donald Trump's former FBI director, of essentially investigating Trump of harassment intended to sway the electoral outcome. A direct quote from the claim is, quote, "This malicious prosecution led President Trump to spend tens of millions of dollars defending the case and his reputation." Now, the only issue for Trump is any settlement above $4 million has to be directly approved by either the Associate Attorney General or the Deputy Attorney General. Now, let's break this down. Here's where things get unethical. The current Deputy Attorney General, Todd Blanche. The current Chief of the Department's Civil Division, Stanley Woodward. Todd Blanche, Donald Trump's personal attorney in the classified documents case. Donald Trump's personal attorney in the New York civil fraud, or the New York criminal case. Donald Trump's personal attorney. Stanley Woodward represented Donald Trump's co-defendant, Walt Nauta, in the classified documents case. He's also represented multiple Trump associates, including Kash Patel, associated with investigations related to the January 6th insurrection. So here's where we're at. The two people that will be responsible for approving a $230 million settlement to Donald Trump, taxpayer dollars, are Donald Trump's own personal lawyers. Now, here's the thing. Under a normal presidency, they would recuse themselves, right? They would say, you know what? I have conflicts of interest here. I cannot go forward with this review. But is this normal times? No. Will they recuse themselves? Probably not. Donald Trump does not like it when recusals happen. He railed against former Attorney General Jeff Sessions way back when, during his first administration, for recusing himself in an investigation that led to Robert Mueller's appointment as special counsel, and one of these claims eventually arose out of that. So the odds that Blanche or Woodward recuse themselves here, slim, probably none. And so we're in a situation where they are likely now to approve a massive settlement of taxpayer dollars, your money, into the pocket of Donald Trump. And let's look at what he could use that money to pay for. He could use it to pay for his ballroom that's going to cost tens of millions of dollars on the White House lawn, which has already begun construction. He could use it to build part of his presidential library in Miami, Florida, scheduled to start building in the next year or two. He could also just pocket it, keep it himself. This money will go directly to him, assuming it's approved. He could do whatever he wants, whenever he wants. And it's your money. See, here's the thing. He's not taking the $400,000 a year in terms of salary that the president receives. He donates that every year. But this is a way for him to make $230 million, not have to donate, not have to uphold his end of the bargain there. Pocket it. Make sure people know about this. Spread the word, like, comment, share, and subscribe. I'll see you soon.